Yeah, we got tournament starting. I will be in Charleston. Anyone that's there, hit me up. I'll be at the game. SGPN will buy you a beer. Come on. We are grateful for our listeners. So if you're out catching college basketball in the beautiful city of Charleston, let us know. Guys, before we get into, because we have that tournament starting, I thought, and I'm sure you guys might have saw what Chris Caputo, yeah,
Caputo.
Jesus,
Dub.
the head coach of the Colonials of George Washington, the Colonials of George Washington, the Colonials of George Washington. What he said after last night's game.
Colby made sure to get the coach's name wrong 3 times, and then also the nickname of the school wrong 3 times. That's what.
Well, no. I got the nickname of the school correct.
He just wanted to put emphasis on that.
Yeah. But he was a part of those George Mason staffs, and he kind of touches on that here. But I'm curious your thoughts on this right here.
On right now, and the changing landscape of these multi-team events. That, hey, when I was at George Mason and we're playing Orlando, we can play Kansas State, South Carolina, Villanova. When GW can go, play 3 high major schools on a neutral site 10 years ago, like those days are over. They won't play the games. They just will not play the games. They don't even want you in the events. You call the events and say we want to play, they're like, no, you're not in. We're not doing it. So what you wind up finding is now you got to find these neutral site games that are within the top 100, like yourself, South Florida, potentially McNeese, all these games to try to get quad 1 and 2 games. So we're going to keep being aggressive. And then obviously you can get Florida on a neutral site, which is great, but that's a quad 1 that's in the top 10, right? But if I tried to get the 40th best team, they wouldn't. We're 53 today in KenPom. I just saw we're the highest rated KenPom team in the Atlantic 10. So we're cleanly, as of today, a quad 2 game for people. Maybe even a quad 1 in certain situations, right? But it's just so challenging in this landscape, and it's the fix is in. The net. It is what it is. I mean, it just is what it is. We all know what it is, and you can't manipulate it.
Do you think that will change, or do you think these good teams will just never take the risk of playing a talented but small
No,
Great question there, by the way.
I think I'm for expansion because I don't think they're going to go away from this metric. So, and if they're freezing you out of the opportunities, the only way to get more teams from a league like ours, which has traditionally been a multi-bid league team, the teams win games. I always use that example of when I was at George Mason, we get 2 at-large bids. We go to the Final Four and win a game in the tournament in the first round. Those teams would not be in this environment. And it's all because of a metric. It has nothing to do with the games or the teams or anything. And so I'm for expansion. And I have a lot of media friends that are not for expansion. I get it, but I don't see how you couldn't be for expansion when they basically they moved the goalpost on what it would take to get in these for teams outside of those power leagues. There's 20 teams in the Big Ten or whatever it is. They just freeze you out.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty powerful what he was saying there. Mac, you were closer to the game obviously than me, being shit hammered watching games for the past 35 years. But curious your take on that.
Yeah, I mean, Caputo's been on the show before. Caputo was also at Mason when I grew up as a camper. I mean, he's right. We saw with Indiana State, what was it, 2 years ago? Where they went 30 and 5, and they were iced out for a 500 high major team, or not even a 500 high major team. It was a 2 games below, or 3 games below, 4 games below high major team. And the more and more we've expanded these leagues, the Big Ten and the SEC, it's gotten worse and worse and worse. And he's right. The A10's not getting these games. The Missouri Valley's not getting these games. The Mountain West is not getting these games. So to a certain degree, he's right in terms of where they can't. They're not going to. the Power 4 teams are not gonna schedule these teams that are in the top 100 just because it could be a bubble tiebreaker, and it is a shame because the other teams in the Power 4 leagues get more opportunities at the quad 1, quad 2, whatever the quad system is compared to the A-10 teams and the teams that are supposed to be really good at the mid-major level that get 1 or 2 cracks at it, and come Selection Sunday, they look at what did you do in your quad 1 win. So yeah, I mean, I hate the net. It is what it is. I mean, we joke about the net manipulation, but
But
um,
the reason why I think that's powerful is it might change my own personal opinion on expansion.
No, I
but
think
here's the
everything
thing:
he said there is correct, and even he mentioned the phrase "they move the goalposts." What do you think is going to happen when the tournament field
they're
gets
going to add
expanded?
more Big Ten and
They
SEC teams in.
you're not getting more mid majors. You're
They're
getting
not.
more of
Yeah,
these mediocre, at large, high major teams. You look back at all the uh, last four, or the first four out, like that doesn't mean shit because you're gonna throw a pity bone to the mid major that was just on the outside. Put the like each high major conference has athletic directors and or presidents on the selection committees. They're always going to do buddy buddy handshake system. You get one, I get one type of deals on that cut line, on that bubble. It's just not going to work out that way all the time. So when they say when he says move the goalposts, I completely agree with him, and it kind of contradicts his entire point there. What I learned from that, and I thought that clip was outstanding. What I learned from that, though, is that not only are the mid majors the good ones that have returning production, that are have continuity within their program, that don't have a new coach, that don't have a few new players in the transfer portal, that the teams with a target on their back that are expected to be good for the upcoming season, we knew that they don't get aggressively scheduled by high majors. They're not the ones that are getting reached out to by these high majors for buy games. However, we're now learning that MTEs are excluding these teams too, that include high major teams. Everything is kind of like a handshake deal. It is being gate kept by the big conferences to protect their leagues and their net numbers, because taking a loss to one of those mid majors that their schedule doesn't allow them to trip up as many times as a Big Ten, and SEC, a Big East, and ACC, a team does. If they trip up 3 or 4 times in conference to a 200 net team, that hurts the big conferences. Whereas if they just trip up to a 200 net team in their conference, they have 8 more conference games to correct that and make that up. It's Pandora's box. I have a shitload of feelings on that. I think for the most part, he did a tremendous job. I think he prepped for that too. And that's why I think the MTs are amazing, because it allows these coaches to get in front of national media and speak their minds about this stuff. You could tell he was prepped for it, and he was going out there making a statement. I thought he killed it for what he wanted to say and what he wanted to get in front of. So great job for Caputo, and I wish him luck in the tournament.
Yeah, I just wonder, how do you fix it? How do you fix that?
You fix it by again.
you got to get
Pandora's
rid of
box.
the net.
Yeah,
No,
but that's not gonna happen. That's not
When
really
it was
realistic.
the RPI, when it was the
So,
RPI, when it
yeah,
was the
the net's better than the RPI.
I
Because
mean,
RPI was a bigger issue.
was it?
Quite frankly, yeah.
What
I
was
mean,
the
there's
issue?
ways to manipulate all metrics. It shouldn't be just metric based, because that's the thing here with the athletic directors, the presidents, and a handful of former coaches that now work in school offices. The only ones that I'm guaranteeing are watching 55% of the games in college basketball on the teams that matter are the former staffers, the coaches, the general managers of college basketball, and what have you. The school presidents and the athletic directors have so much on their plate already. They're going into those meetings with their team sheet in front of them, and they're looking at those numbers. And the net helps them because it does its best. There are flaws, but it does its best to combine everything. Now, what happens is you have the net which combines everything, but then they handpick these other minuscule stats. Like, hey, this team has more quad 1 victories. Well, what happens is some of these at-large high major teams have more opportunities to get those quad one victories. You have to have a set stats that you value and look at going into it. It can't fluctuate because of who's on the committee and whatnot. Yeah,
I mean,
I'm disappointed that our YouTube chat is disconnected right now because I feel like the chat would have been on one for this too.
well, I'll say too. I don't even like. The agendas is what's killing it. It like you look at North Carolina last year, quad one, quad two, quad three, quad. They had one quad one win last year, and they got in the NCAA tournament because their name was the University of North Carolina. And they got in over West Virginia. And yes, I know I'm the West Virginia guy, but West Virginia had like 4 or 5 quad one and quad two wins. I mean, that was a joke. So, but I know one thing. Before we did the net thing, VCU got in as an at large. They went to a Final Four. George Mason got in and as an at large, and they went to the Final Four. So,
Wichita might have too.
Wichita, I think, won their conference that year, or maybe they didn't. But I don't know why we have become so computer based. Like whenever you involve analytics, that shit always fucks shit up, man. Analytics
always
is
been-
fucking awful.
Computers have always been involved in some form or fashion. Again, the athletic directors and presidents know that they don't watch these games, so they need something to rely on and be able to reference on 75% of the games that they're not paying attention to from November to late January, because that's football season.
Yeah.
That's the moneymaker. And like there's so many other sports, and for presidents, there's so many other responsibilities. They shouldn't be the ones on the committee. That's how you fix it.
Wait, so our YouTube feed's down right now? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, I think the chat's disconnected. We haven't had one since 12:04, and it's 12:21.
Wow. All right. Fantastic.